man. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. All right, Pikachu on the Legion side, have it on the Hellborn side here in game number 3. There answers that question pretty quickly. We got Tempest Parasite coming out for Pikachu. And then Moon Queen Wild Soul from our Hellborn team. So
yeah, like
once again.
Yeah, like I said, similar to game 1, same position with Klaus Heading, and again, I'm going to be scared saying that name, but I'll say it anyway. Klaus Heading, he understands the power of those two heroes, especially when you're in that first position. You have a very easy access to one of them, being both Moon Queen and Wild Soul. And blind bans them in the first game, does the same thing here in game 3 when he's in the second position.
Yeah, so not going to want to deal with that this time around. Bubbles is the first lock here, coming out for Nier. But again, you look at Keeper of the Forest is also there on the board, and very good chance we'll at the very least see him locked up here. I noticed you're looking around Path of Exile stream, I believe that was. Path of Exile. That looks like an entertaining game, man. That does.
It looks like a Diablo 3.5.
Well, yeah, and as I put it, it looks like a Diablo 3 of what a lot of people wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And what it kind of expected it to be. Maybe not the same.
When did it come out? Do you know?
Must have been recently. I mean, I've only seen it popped up recently. I don't really follow game releases that much. Let's have something to do with HoN, of course. No, but
yeah.
I don't really follow them that much. So it might have been out for a while. It might have just been picked up lately. I don't know, but
it does look identical to Diablo 3.
It looks very similar. Yes.
But the graphics are pretty damn good.
It is free to play too, I believe.
Is it really?
I think so.
No way.
If I'm not mistaken. I swear they didn't pay us.
You know what else is free to play?
What's that?
Heroes of New Earth, baby.
Heroes of freaking New Earth. I'm glad you're here, Trail. Always to save that. Pebbles, Keeper of the Forest are the follow-up locks. So sure enough, we got the Keeper. Remember, Fade and Pebbles were those two heroes that that Havit really liked in that first game. So at least one of them is locked up here so far. But yeah, we're gonna wait a little bit longer to move on now with the lock pool. Actually, quite a bit of time was used there by Havit.
What an interesting name, by the way. Havit.
Just Havit. I think their tag is supposed to be HADE according to HoN Tour.
Which is funny because none of them are tagged up.
Yeah, and if anything, they're tagged up as the other team.
Yeah.
Which even makes it more awkward. Oh, boy. Yeah, I've always mentioned in the past, I always like to see those teams that are all tagged up and all nice and neat. And we've definitely gotten a lot of that, and it has come. But
it's just so funny how, three of them are tagged up, and then on the real Pika team, only one person's actually tagged up Pika. And I want to say that for the entirety of the Pika clan, so to speak, that none of them have all been tagged up as Pika.
I don't think they have.
I believe TPS Prices, when he's playing on that actual name, he's always been tagged up with his QUT tag, and
that's true. Yeah.
So,
Semi-Jew, it's good to see him again. By the way, we didn't
really
really talk to him.
Really nice guy,
but I don't know. I assume he's been back for a little bit. I haven't really been following that, to be honest, but. Yeah, very nice guy on top of, again, he's been around the HoN scene for a long time. He's been on very successful teams. He was a part of Online Kingdom, wasn't he? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and Team Easy with Chu and
That's
BK
right, yeah.
at DreamHack winter 2011.
I do remember that, yes. Yeah, so he's definitely had his success on top levels, so. There you go. Ophelia Legionnaire going to be final locked from Nier, but then the final lock is good old Amon-Ra.
I'll tell you.
Probably not going to see him.
Yeah. Tell you a player I missed a lot was Fuji Apples. He was, I mean, when we talk about the metagame right now and how heroes like Ophelia and just junglers in general are so strong, man, that guy's Ophelia. People forget because, not to discredit Chessie at all, as he's kind of regarded as one of the best, if not the best in the world, but, man, Fuji Apples Ophelia just does it for me.
Yeah.
Fuji Apples, did I say Ophelia? Okay, I hope I did. But
yes.
It was so strong. I mean, and that guy played also with extremely high APM. He was always just in the zone.
He was a micro expert, and obviously with a hero like Ophelia, and I know Balfagor, there was times where when Balfagor first came out of the scene, he really dominated with him. And
yeah,
that's definitely an old school player, man. Yeah, we could definitely talk about that for a long time, all these players in history and everything. Fade, Jerazion, and Fort Tundra are the next couple of bands. Engineer going to be the final one from Nier. So ain't going to see no Engineer this time. I believe he was seen the first two games, if I'm not mistaken, but not this game. Another the Vinyl Band.
The Vinyl fans.
Final Band here. Why do I go? Never mind. Final Band here going to be coming out from our Hellborn side. So,
well, I did that for Maryland I.
Maryland I.
Maryland I.
Why is that our go-to accent?
I don't know.
Because America. America.
It's my accent when I don't really know what I'm talking about, so I just use that accent.
Derp accent, yes.
Yeah, Maryland.
Silhouette. No Draconis, man. Draconis was open last game, and of course he was used the first game even.
Yep.
Possibly see him here again. Nier is gonna snap pick DS. Interesting.
Now Zephyr's still in the pool as well.
Yeah.
And so is in that lockpick pool with Ophelia. So if you're looking to end this early, you already have the means to do so if you're the Legion team because of that first position. And that could be pretty. You got to spot that early if you're this Hellborn team because the last thing you want to do is end up with some good heroes, but zero counter push and just get overrun early on. So
yeah. The first two picks here from our Hellborn side. So yeah, again, it's how do you respond to that now with the first pick, Demented Shaman. It's I'm sure even if you had something in mind initially, well, that might have just changed some things there. So got to think about it. Only about 20 seconds left now. They used quite a bit of extra time earlier on, so not going to be the most time in the world to think about this decision here. Got to start being a little bit careful, of course, and running down. Well, excuse me. They're running down to about 10 seconds and counting. We had our countdown 7, 6, 5. Okay, it is going to be a Luna Zephyr. So they are going to kind of take away Zephyr from our Legion team here. But now if you're Pikachu, I mean, you got to kind of assume that if we're going to first pick Demented Shaman and Zephyr's on the board, there's a chance that the other team's going to pick up Zephyr. So now where do we go from here?
I think this would be the most perfect time ever to go for an Armadon.
Yeah.
I mean, not only is Armadon just great with Demented Shaman in general, but he's really, really good against Zephyr. They're not going to go for it. They're going to go for Flux, actually.
Now, I know we were having a discussion the other day, I think it was on Sunday, on one of these weekend days, where we saw Rally in a game. And you were bringing up points how heroes like Rally, who are very good at staying alive in 1 versus 2 situations and can still get experience.
Oh, right, yeah.
Flux is kind of the similar situation.
He is.
I know, because I know you brought him up, too, so. Oh, look at that. I am not on FC. I've been on FC this whole time, and here we are in Game 3. And I get my first message.
I know.
And it's, hi ho. How you doing? I'm not even going to go on FC with that said.
In 6 minutes, you're going to get spammed.
I'm going to wait to get spammed. Nah, I probably should, huh? I am on an alternate account for those that may figure that out.
Oh, I was going to say, you should just wait and see.
You know what? Let's just wait and see. Let's just wait and see it happen.
Let's wait for this.
Wait for all the kind messages.
They probably just assumed you were on like FC. And
because I was him, of course, yeah. Well, because I'm not on Breaking CPK. I'm in one of my alts, Ultra Big Red, my great alt there.
Now you're really giving it away.
I may or may not want people to message me. But the D&D is actually still broken, and meaning it disconnects you from the chat server, then it reconnects you a couple seconds later. So it really does nothing at this point. I heard it is getting fixed on Friday, is what I was told though. So the D&D, for those that have noticed that, it should be fixed by Friday. Anyways, moving on with this game, we got Ophelia is the first pick out of the lock pool. There's Pebbles and Keeper as a response from Habit, and now Pikachu going to be their 5th and final pick here. I can see Amon Ra, Demented Shaman Ra.
I mean, you could also be really crafty and go for Legionnaire. They're gonna go for Bubbles, so
yeah,
okay, all right. No, that actually makes more sense. They're gonna have to just lane Flux, I suppose, with Demented Shaman.
Okay.
And yeah, so Flux, Demented Shaman. I'm not quite sure. Probably will go bottom actually. Bubbles, Suicide, Wretched Hag, mid is my guess. So yeah, like I said, it's similar, I guess, to a pushing strat with Zephyr, but it's not going to be as effective, I feel. I don't know. This is a really awkward lineup, but I haven't seen anything like this.
It's unique. Well, I'm sitting here thinking of. He's got another whisper.
You got lucky though, because
yeah, he did. I know. Hasn't been 6 minutes yet. I'm sitting here thinking about Demented Shaman and then Flux, of course, and it seems like if they are going to lane together, there is actually some decent synergy there. I mean, you got the Flux pull-in on top of the DS heal, if you can set that up. I mean, that's kind of similar to a Gust Demented Shaman heal combination.
I guess it's similar, but it's not nearly as effective.
It's not nearly as long range, that's for sure, yeah. So, but the idea is most certainly there. But again, seeing Flux in general, this is a hero that definitely can have an impact. I mean, his ultimate obviously can set up beautiful team fights. Now, I will say there's not like a big Tempest ultimate by any means, but they do got Hag, they got Bubbles. It is still a very good team fight, even without that Behemoth or Magmus type of ultimate.
Yeah. Now, it's going to be a Suicide Keeper right now against Wretched Hag, and I feel like Wretched Hag actually should have a little bit of an edge down here. got the blink first, and that's fine. But I've actually never played this matchup in my life. From what I've heard, though, Wretched Hag should win, and I don't really know. I kind of have mixed feelings on that because I feel like with a hatchet onto Keeper of the Forest, it's very difficult to get last hits if you're Wretched Hag, unless you're spamming out. But if you're spamming out, that means you're pushing out the wave and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I've never played the matchup, but I have been told that Wretched Hag should win.
Okay. Well, there you go. There we have a reason for a pause.
Yeah.
I like seeing this. You know, again, Flux is kind of a hero that he may splash on every now and then. Semi-Jew playing Flux here. We see this kind of build in items also early on too. I mean, just look at his life pool. He already has 739 life.
And a decent amount of armor too.
Yeah, and some good. What is it at? Yeah, 3.2. I mean, you go across the board, you compare that. It's definitely in fact one of the highest in the game. So, yeah, to say the least, survivability is definitely there for him, and that kind of goes back to that discussion that again we were having where. Thinking of heroes in a 2 versus 1 situation. Now, it is going to be a 2 versus 2, obviously, because of how they finished. Man, it would have been awesome to see them go like an Amon-Ra. Or even Legionnaire. Legionnaire would have been a lot of fun, too. But
yeah,
they went the bubbles route, unfortunately.
So much chatter here.
Yeah, seriously. I was told, again, and I could believe it, that I guess that these two teams, again, they're just like a lot of friends, and they even like play together a lot. It's just they happen to have 2 different teams, of course, how many people there are. In HoN Tour, and it just so happens that they met up here, and sure enough, we're casting them. So
yeah,
again, 2 very, very good teams. Definitely teams worthy of being in Diamond. Pikachu it hasn't yet, but if they win this series here, then they will be going on to Diamond next cycle, guaranteeing that. Even with the loss, though, that means they'll move down to the losers bracket, but then 1 win there, and you actually get to Diamond as well. So still is a chance. Oh, I love that copy paste function.
It's so much fun.
You mentioned that. Can actually do that here.
Let's go.
There you go. That's how it works. Ah, you didn't team chat. I didn't all message.
You did an all message?
Yeah.
Ah.
I saw my message. All right, Bubbles is loading back in. So once Butch. I remember, speaking of a player again, he's been, as we talked about earlier, he's been around forever. I still to this day don't exactly know how to pronounce it.
See, okay,
because I've heard so many different things.
Buch in German means book, and I thought that's what it is, but I don't think he's German. And
I know. I think it's from Denmark. Because
okay.
he was part of the Danish Dynamite way back in the day.
Yeah, you're right. He is from Denmark, and I've been told that his name is actually pronounced book, just like like just the word book.
That's boring though.
But I mean I took German for 4 years in high school. That I have to say Buch. Like my mouth will only make that sound when I see that name, Buch. So, but I'm pretty sure it's book, just like regular.
Book.
Yeah, I don't know.
Continues to say Buch. All right, so he's back in now, and once we get the go ahead, we will be good. Apparently, Rhythmia is ready, and so is his team. So. Over on Pikachu now, and then good to go. Again, thank you for tuning in here tonight, by the way. Obviously, we don't... it definitely has been a while since we've casted during the weekdays. Again, we've kind of been shifting our schedules around and whatnot and definitely making some changes. On that note, I know I say that a lot. We have discussed recently about the idea of trying to get a lot more content on the live stream specifically. We're going to do our best to at least try to get at least 5 days a week. So obviously you got your weekend. That will include rebroadcast days. So, again, we're planning on figuring out a kind of a fine-tuned schedule and everything. But between rebroadcasting, between our podcast, between live matches, of course, we're going to do our best to get at least 5, if not 6 days a week. So, okay, here we go.
Comes.
Here it comes. The chain of messages. There's a couple. Oh, nothing negative yet. I'm a little surprised at that.
Awesome.
Not that, you know what? Why am I saying that? HoN community's great.
They are.
No look at that combination coming out.
Okay, you were right.
That's what I'm talking about. Wow, right off the bat. Zephyr's like, wait a second. That just happened.
You were right. Crap. I was wrong. I concede the argument fully.
I mean, geez, that caught Zephyr off guard and it nearly set up a bloodless kill. But now that he is aware of it, of course, he's gonna be. But even if he doesn't get caught again, I mean, he's gonna always have to play very passive now because of that. I mean, you see what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I thought that this lane was gonna go bottom, but as long as they pick, and actually, I mean, Flux is great in it seems to be working out. But I think just in general, Demented Shaman against any melee hero makes it difficult to farm because you don't know when that heal bomb is going to come out. They have the potential to throw it out all the time, and because the cooldown on that healing wave is so low, it's very, very easy to constantly spam out people and harass them that way.
Well, and so is the Magnetic Surge, and on top of that, it's a 20 mana cost for this ability. He can just spam it over and over and over again, and not have to worry about running out of mana. So on top of that, it's setting up those heal bombs. It's it is definitely pretty deep. Okay, now comments are starting to get a little ridiculous. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go to SC now. On that note, but we had some fun there. And
it ends there.
And you can all thank that guy for Elite Snipe 420 for ruining everyone's party. Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be fun though to see this combination specifically and how it needs to work. Top lane, Master of Arms, heavily harassing Bubbles as you would expect. He's right now hiding in the trees, trying to just leech any experience he can. Doing a pretty good job of it, but
yeah,
Pebbles will have a free farm here at the top lane.
Yep. Oh, by the way, you've made the chat just explode in this Diablo 3 versus Path of Exile chat. It's,
oh gosh,
it's pretty funny. So
shout out to this. Is that a thing? I'm sorry.
Shout out to the stream chat.
I didn't realize that was a battle like CS 1.6 versus Source or something like that.
We've been discussing it for a few minutes.
Yeah, we're just talking about that.
Yeah.
Oops. Hey, I opened Pandora's box. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Gives you something to talk about while we're waiting.
Uh-oh, Keeper the Force actually in a lot of trouble right here. Is going to die, and this is not good when you're a Suicide Keeper because you always have the ability to use Nature's Veil, but got way too low and just kind of got a little bit greedy there. Didn't pop the health potion that he had for so long there. Yep. And then Nier comes along with the Minotaur and snipes him out with the kill. So
caught the tail end of that. He just, thank God he said something because I went to it right as the kill basically happened. But yeah, that's that frees up a lot for Wretched Hag. And I'm also noticing, though, and you see right there when they try to pull him in, maybe heal bomb, but they've kind of conceded this middle lane in a sense. Aluna's been up here up top. She was actually stacking the jungle a little bit, but they basically say, you know what, Flux Demented Shaman's pretty powerful. We don't want to have to deal with it. Zephyr, best of luck. Because, I mean, his farm only 7 creep kills so far compared to the 18 of Flux. We do have a Minotaur coming in right here. There's a pull-in. There's a Minotaur. So the heal bomb on top of that. On top of the Entangle. Zephyr dropping quickly. Now he's going to use the Tornadoes that he had, but will it be enough in the end? No, it will not. Flux will get the kill right there. Meanwhile, the top lane, though, Bubbles actually did fall right before that. So at least the Hellborn team does make something happen. But good job collapsing onto Zephyr right there.
Yeah, and actually, I would have done it differently. I would have just let Aluna sit mid and try to soak up some experience and then snipe out for creep kills and just let Zephyr take over the jungle at this point. Yeah, he's only level 4, but you can actually do the jungle quite easily between that middle, that medium camp and the small camp. And that's what I would do, because Zephyr can actually bounce back quite nicely in the jungle with a terrible start.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously can't lane mid because Demented Shaman is just doing too much work against the Zephyr. Well, even just the Flux by himself. Yeah. Look at all this auto-attack harass.
Oh, getting a little bit overzealous, though. He gets gusted into the tower range. Bubbles coming in, though. Now Zephyr realizing this was a horrible decision. He's going to be turned on. He will eventually fall. Flux needs to be careful. Healing Wave going to come out, though. Entangle on the Master of Arms. And Master of Arms will also fall. It's snowballing very quickly right here in favor of the Legion team. There's now 4-1 hero kill advantage. There's a Shell port in. But Rhythme, I think he's just in too deep of a position there to really initiate on. But yeah, several kills happening there in favor of Team Pikachu. And just like that, 4-1, but you're talking about, I mean, Flux alone, he's very deadly, and that's only the one level that he's put into the Magnetic Surge. He also did go one into Polarity Swap, by the way. I'm also intrigued by that with Flux players. How it seems like honestly, most of the time they stay away from the E, and they just max out the Q and the W. But he actually does put the 1 into there, and it gives him the option, at least, of a swapping on top of, the increased attack range, which is nice, so.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it gives you a little bit more cast range on your W spell as well. So that's good. And I normally when I'm actually playing Flux, and I'm usually soloing mid, and I like to go honestly to just the Magnetic Surge and Polarity Swap build, and I only get 1 in a release just for the slow, because the slow is it doesn't scale like as far as the slow is concerned. The damage obviously does, but when he's in a lane like this, I think this is a much better way to build him. And you can also, now that it was changed a long time ago, yes, but now that you can also push and pull your teammates, it does give you a little bit more reason to get that Polarity Swap up.
Yes, you're right. That actually was an addition that was put in. But it definitely has been a little bit longer time since that happened. But yeah, something to keep in mind. Bubbles trying to protect this invis room, but no, Master of Arms, that great stun at the last second. And he actually steals the rune. Meanwhile, Luna at the bottom lane, also protecting a rune. She takes a lot of pressure from Demented Shaman before she falls back. So Flux getting delivered as Ghost Marchers right there, though. Again, Flux is having a very good time here in the middle lane. 380 gold per minute, the tops in the game right now. Not only having a pretty solid creep farm, but obviously being 2-0-1 here. Looking pretty good for him. Now it does beg the question, bottom lane, we have some initiation, by the way. Give it the force out of mana. He cannot go invis. Bat Blast already used. Luna charging in with a nuke right there. The Minotaur and the Catman Champion coming in from the flank. And down goes Keeper. Great job by Nier right there on Ophelia, setting up the flank and getting another kill on a Keeper of the Forest. As Wretched Hag's farm continues to increase, now they're going to pressure this bottom lane trail. Yeah,
job well done by Nier. That was a really, really good play by him. He does not have mana to use the ultimate yet. No, poor Minotaur dies. So they're pressuring this bottom tower. It might still go down. Doesn't have his little Minotaur friend. But yeah, really, really good flank from him. In the meantime, they're also pressuring the mid tower as well.
Yeah. This could be a couple of tower kills if our Hellborn team isn't careful. There goes the bottom tower. Middle tower only at 300 life right now. Keeper of the Force is here with an invis, though, and he is level 6. So maybe the Hellborn team going to try to set up some kind of route here for some initiation. But what I was going to, Truff, was Flux. So we got Flux. Again, he's having a very good start now. 400 gold per minute. What would... Hold on that thought, though. We actually might have initiation here in the middle lane. It's going to be close. There's the Entangle on the Keeper, actually. Luna's charging in. He's going to be released right there from Flux, but not a whole lot of damage. The tower does fall, though. Yeah, in favor of Flux.
The release actually I don't think hit anything because the magnetic surge, obviously, it doesn't pull through the tower, so
yeah,
or cliff, so it just kind of made him sit there, and then his release I don't think hit anything. But nonetheless, it got the tower kill, and good credit goes to Book there, playing the bubbles. And as a Suicide Bubbles, I'm sure he'll be more than happy to have that extra gold.
So, my point, Flux, what do you expect to see on him now, especially with the farm that he's having here?
What kind of items?
Do you think that portal key is important?
Most people get portal key, but and I think that's still fine. Like, it's going to synergize well with Bubbles having his mobility, Wretched Hag having his mobility. So yeah, with those things considered, I think portal key would be excellent for him.
He is going to go several build-up items here. Again, understandable, of course. He gets a Talisman of the XL on top of the power supply and a bottle, which he already had, of course. So, yeah, he is getting those build-up, but definitely wouldn't be surprised to see the portal key pick up of him from him eventually. He's currently still level 6, so again, being in the middle lane where he had the partner the whole time, not necessarily the most experienced, but he is level 6 with that said. Of course, he has that ultimate now. And so I'm sitting here talking about a lot of farm on Flux, but holy crap, look at Pebbles up here.
Yeah.
Of course, free farm, but man, over 400 gold per minute, 64 and 30 creep farm. That is by far the most in the game. He's been having a great time. 9 minutes in here. He actually has enough for a portal key.
Yeah, I sure
2,300.
I sure hope he purchases it here before he dies, because he might get aggressed here in the top lane with 4 members of the Legion team up. Only one not with him is Hag, who's pushing the bottom lane independently. So, okay, he did buy his portal key. Yeah. It is now being sent from the courier.
Yeah, I think if anything, he wanted to maybe try to get the outpost to get it, but it just wasn't going to happen. So it's being delivered right now. And this, at the same time, though, this could be good timing because it is coming. Keeper the Force ports in with Root ready to go. If he actually gets that portal key, he's able to really catch them off guard. Good job with the tornado right here. Going to be canceled, though. Tower, a lot of pressure. The portal key being delivered in maybe 5 or 6 more seconds. It's going to be so close. The Root for Keeper the Force. He's trying to set something up. Are they going to go in? There's that stun enough Flux. Here we go. Pebbles jumps in with the portal key. Dimension Chum will fall. The Ophelia Heal going to go off there. Flux says, get off my teammates right there. He pushes everyone away. Keeper the Force going to pursue. Ophelia maybe trying to turn this around. There's a pull in the surge on top of them. But Keeper the Force too tanky. Wretched Hag joining the party, though. Pebbles now out of mana. He's in no man's land. And Pebbles will eventually fall, trying to maybe lead them the other way. And in the end, that's how it will finish. Were there any buybacks? No, there were not. So, and they got the tower go. No, it was denied, actually. Good job there. But, crazy fight there.
But that was your new portal key. That was your new portal key from Pebbles, the ultimate use. Pretty much everything was used, except actually the Typhoon was used.
Yeah, Zephyr wasn't there.
From Zephyr, yes, he wasn't there. But the fact that you only got the Demented Shaman out of an exchange, since the Ophelia heal came out to heal the others as well. And Wretched Hag didn't use the Bat Blast either, so still coming out on top of these team fights, really. Even though the tower was denied, it's still not there. and it's still not going to provide that map control that you really need at this point.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Zephyr, again, he is struggling. He's only at 150 gold per minute. He has been in the jungle a little bit, and which is why he wasn't there at the top lane, I believe. I don't even know if he was level 6 at the time, and he might have hit it like midway through or something, but he is just trying to get any type of recovery and farm. I do remember, speaking of Zephyr being in the jungle, his Cyclones actually used to do 100% damage to the neutrals and everything, and he actually could be a legitimate jungling hero because of that. They then nerfed it to 50%, I believe it was, and then they actually reverted it to about 75%, so kind of those in between there. That it has been a while since that happened, but it just kind of hit me.
Well, like I said in the beginning, he was level 4 at one point where he hadn't died yet. And they actually transitioned Aluna up top, and I feel like it should have been the other way around. Aluna just sit mid, and at level 4, you can actually still do the jungle pretty easily with Zephyr between, like I said, that medium and that small camp because they're relatively easy to kill. And he's a hero once you get, especially then level 5 after that, it just becomes easier and easier and easier. And it's a similar idea to like Legionnaire, where the more stacks you have, it seems to be better because you can consume those tornadoes right before you get, like, say you have 6 at level 5. You get a maximum of 6 tornadoes. Well, then right before you kill a creep, you consume one. And if you stack it, you're constantly consuming HP, where at the same time you're dealing lots of damage.
It's not going to be enough. Nope, Ophelia heal coming out, and Bubbles will survive. So saw that coming the whole way, and I was sitting there thinking in my head, I don't know if this is going to be enough damage, especially with those Mystic Vespers. We want the top lane Typhoon coming out from Zephyr. He does have support Fork Lightning, hitting Demented Shaman right there. Has to go bomb in 3 seconds. That shock the Hail Mary Chuck coming out though from Pebbles, and it gets the kill onto DS. Wretched Hag will blink away, and so there will be good the top lane. But yeah, the bottom lane, I mean, Bubbles just a little bit too tanky, and then on top of that, of course, the Ophelia heal. Pebbles not able to get the bottom kill, but again, came up top and at least got some kind of kill up here. And he continues to be the shining star, the hope really for the Hellborn team right now because, again, Zephyr is just struggling, man. He is going to be forced to fall back to base and regen here. And then meanwhile, you have a Flux and a Hag really on the Legion side are doing very, very well. In fact, Hag is right next to Aluna here, but she's actually going to blink away, being fairly low life herself. So yeah, it's a tough spot here for the Hellborn team to be in this early on, and Flux is actually well on his way to a portal key, if that's so what he chooses here. As speaking of Flux, going to run into Aluna. There's the release on top of the magnetic surge. A miss auto attack. It ain't going to matter though. One more, and Aluna's like, haha, delaying. Okay, I'm dead. So Flux taking a kill.
That release still does so much damage, man.
Oh yeah, it's such a short cooldown too.
It is really short. Yeah, I didn't really realize that.
Yeah, he's again kind of one of those heroes too that can definitely start farming very, very quickly with that release, especially too. So, yeah, I mean, Flux, we're gonna see. You know, again, this is a hero we never really see on the competitive scene, but what kind of presence really this guy can have, especially with early farm. We're gonna definitely see that this game.
Well, it's just kind of fun because normally when you see Flux picked in a lineup, it's synergized with something else. Like you have this in mind going into it. Yeah, like you're like Flux Engineer or Flux Crack and Flux Tempest. Such a great combination, but I think people forget too that just by himself, Flux is a pretty damn good hero.
Yeah. And
we're seeing that early on here.
Ooh, Wretched Hag! No, can't get the blink off in time.
The heal was up from Ophelia.
Yep, that would have saved him.
And Nier's actually been pretty good about that this entire game, but wasn't able to do it this time.
Yeah, not able to get it off, so instead they are going to push this middle lane. The tower already taking a little bit of damage. Here we go. The Minotaur Catman and the Skeleton King here from Ophelia. On top of everything else, so if anything, this could be some tower exchanging going on. The bottom first tower is being pushed on by the Hellborn side. Granted, the middle lane is dropping down quicker, so there goes the tower kill. Will we see port backs from Pikachu, perhaps? Are they going to go for it? The tower is very low. No, they're not. The tower falls. And Pikachu, it looks like they are just going to fall back. Portal Key has been delivered to Flux, by the way. So you got that. You got 1,200 gold on Bubbles. You got Hag despite that death there at the bottom side. She has another 1,000 gold saved up. Actually buying a Mighty Blade right there. So just like last game we saw, seems like Wretched Hag could be going for the earlier Shrunken Head route this time.
Yeah.
You like this game?
I mean, look at the team that you're up against, too. It's all magical damage. And no one can really dish out any physical damage whatsoever. So, yeah, it's easily one of the best pickups here that you could do. And I expect Flux to probably do the same thing after he gets that gold pulled up.
Yep. Again, a big thing to note about a hero like Flux, with that global ultimate, similar to like actually a Thunderbringer works the same way. It took me the longest time to ever find that out, but if you get something like a Frost of Skull, which is very possible on a hero like Flux, it actually will affect everyone on the map with his ultimate. pending null stones, of course. But
yeah,
it's something to keep in mind that the single target, basically, abilities through items actually work with global ultimates. Yeah, all the Flux ultimate. So
right.
Yeah, it's something to keep in mind there. See if that maybe comes into play.
Now, does the same thing work with Sandwraith's ulti? Like, not the attacks that come after it? Because I know a long time ago it used to be, like, if you got a Frostwell Skull, that the attacks from the illusions would actually slow people, and then they changed that. But what about the initial ult? Does that
I don't know. That's a good point. I think it has to do, like...
Because it doesn't have to do damage, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go, though. Zephyr ports in, and he just gets bursted down right off the bat. Pebbles will jump into the field, but look at the heal support coming out, including the Ophelia heal. And now Pebbles getting turned on. Master of Arts, see if it's call going to be put out. Not nearly enough, though. Zephyr and Pebbles cannot buy back. Flux jumps in with a release, and we could be seeing a very early push here from Pikachu that could just devastate Have-It. I mean, they are going to use some vulnerability already at the base, but this tower, it is very likely going to fall. Keeper of the Forest does have a root still, but the damage follow-up wouldn't be the greatest. So, great initiation right there into both Pebbles and Zephyr. They are going to be responding. Obviously, the advantage of not being too late in the game just yet. So, they'll probably at the very least save the racks. But this tower is definitely going to fall right here. So, great push coming up from Pikachu. Again, I assume that they're going to fall back shortly after, which there we go. Demented Shaman, just out of range as he entangles Keeper, who was thinking about rooting, I'm sure. But they all should be fine, as Flux even helps DS a little bit. There you go.
And everyone gets out scot-free, so really good job by them.
Yeah, I'm not sure, though. To answer your question, I am... Because you do bring up a good point. It doesn't need to do damage.
It's okay, Breaky. I'll find out in 5 minutes.
Okay, that's true. I'm
by
sure
everyone.
I'm sure chat will gladly oblige there and give their thoughts and call us bad casters because of it.
Yep.
So, yeah. Big push from Pikachu, and obviously it's continuing to look grim here for the Hellborn team, honestly.
It is, and it's another one of those situations where they still don't have the better late game. On paper, when you compare the 5 heroes to the other 5 heroes, Hag and Flux. Now, we obviously haven't seen Flux that much, but I'm assuming that once he gets full items, he could be a force to be reckoned with in the late game.
Yeah.
And Hag, we know a lot about her, and she's already got more from than anyone on the Hellborn team. So when you have the more aggressive early on team and you're trailing, that's always a bad sign. It actually needs to be quite, the other way around.
Yep. It ain't, and actually a triple stack H is going to be cleared out here by the Legion team. As the team Flux getting fairly low right there, but falls back will be fine. Again, going to that Frost of Skull logic, I'm very curious if Flux actually goes for an Ice Brand here. And then,
he very well could.
Maybe even tries to go for that, because that is a powerful tool. I mean, the fact that you in a sense slow anyone on the map wherever they are, pretty powerful slow because of the Frost of Skull with your ultimate use is pretty effective. But and at the same time, a strength hero and everything, I mean, it definitely synergizes as well. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a shrunken head too, as you put it.
I mean, both are fine, honestly, because he's still pretty tanky that he doesn't necessarily need a shrunken head at this point.
Yeah.
If you're initiating on the Flux, that's probably not the best decision. It probably should be going on the Hag or Bubbles if you're the Hellborn team. So that being said, you can probably get away with purchasing a Frostwell Skull, or Frostwell Skull here.
Yeah. You see a Luna roaming around, but of course she's invis here. There is dust on Demented Shaman, but again, they don't really know that she's nearby, so wouldn't randomly pop that. So she's going to be fine, just scouting out some information where the Legion team really is. But both her and Pebbles are going to start to fall back. I mean, Pebbles, not that it's been his fault, but, we got a very, very early portal key, remember. And made use of it right away, ultimately led to a death, though, and then he is 4-2. So I guess, he's like the only player on his team to get killed, for that matter. JR coming up for 20 minutes, but Zephyr, he is recovering. He is up to 275 GPM now, has that helm and the plated greaves, so the armor is definitely starting to come out here.
Oh, we're going to see a fight here.
Yes, we are. Is it going to be a big jump? Porta key on Keeper of the Forest, that's exactly what they're looking for. Is that timing going to come up? There's a Shell Serve, very offensive Storm Cloud there as well, and here we go for the Hellborn team. Actually, Pebbles, a great initiation there on his part, a quick pick on the Demented Shaman right off the bat. There's the pushback discharge coming out from Flux, though, and now they're going to go back, and a great Bat Blast on top of that. One kill onto Luna. Pebbles gets caught out. They are going to use the Energizer to try to help them get away. Zephyr also there for assistance. 2 seconds on the pushback there, as the gust that is. Flux gets comboed though by Pebbles in the background. Flux will fall, and so does Ophelia right there. So this is turning out pretty damn well, actually, for the Hellborn team. Wretched Hag now getting caught. Stalagmite's up in 10 seconds, trying to chuck right there, if anything. But Hag is just out of range. She has another blink coming up any second as the animated trees. She's going to blink the other way, though. And it looks like that is going to be enough of a juke. But, yeah, Hellborn team coming out on top.
I mean, when you talk about initiation, like you saw Pebbles initiated on 3 heroes clumped up right there. And it did so much damage. And on top of that, coming back in at the very end to take out, who was that, Flux and Nier?
Mm-hmm.
Or,
yeah, Ophelia, yeah.
Well, Flux and Ophelia, so. Yeah, really great job there by How Makes Sense. Fantastic initiation.
Yeah, the Energizer for Master of Arms, actually. This is a support Master of Arms. That definitely had use right there, too. I mean, it is just a great team fight, you know, tool to use and help them kind of get back and then eventually go back in there. So, and like I said, going into the fight, I mean, Zephyr's, despite his horrendous farm leading off this game, it is going back up. And, in fact, now at a respectable 300 gold per minute here. Only 21.5 minutes in. Top lane, Book will be picked off as Keeper of the Forest and Pebbles combo for the kill. Keeper of the Forest root wasn't even off cooldown. Not necessary, though, of course, especially when you have a Pebbles, who is level 12, hitting pretty damn hard. So the kill's starting to happen, and just like that, we got a case of our Legion team, Pikachu, who aren't as uncomfortable as the spot as they were. You see Flux right here. I think he overdid it.
What's that?
I'm sorry. I was watching him a little bit. He was actually sitting here waiting to pull, but he was spamming his E, kind of just, you know, taunting or just having some fun. But he actually, it delayed him to actually pull the Ancients, and then he didn't actually stack it. So,
all right.
Oops, Semi-Jew getting a little bit too focused there on.
Fun is not allowed in competitive gaming.
Seriously.
Stop it.
Yes.
Stop it, Semi-Jew.
Missing out on a stack. Oh well.
Yeah, but I think the biggest problem, I mean, great initiation from How Makes Sense, not to take anything away from him, but Zitchi's getting caught out in these team fights over and over right at the very beginning. And you need to be playing a lot further back from Demon and Shaman. So clearly you are the target of choice, and you need to not be, because you do provide a lot. Even though you're level 8, you actually are healing quite a bit in these team fights, because he's actually maxed out the heal first. No points into Unbreakable just yet, and because he's maxed out, it's a 6-second cooldown on the healing wave. So you can really turn fights around with that if you're still alive, but when you die at the very beginning of a fight, it makes a huge impact.
Yeah, I do kind of wonder about that Entangle build too. The level 3 Entangle, of course, you know, the level 3 Entangle is very good and gets you that stun at the end. And maybe it was more because of the aggressive laning phase, perhaps. But you know, Breakables is a powerful ability, man, especially when you're dealing with a hero like a Pebbles, and some decent burst damage there on the Hellborn team and whatnot adding up. So. We'll eventually start getting that, sure, but won't have it just yet, unfortunately. So it doesn't have that other saving tool. Ophelia does finish her barrier idol, I believe I saw right there, so great news there. Wretched Hag, I think she just finished her Shrunken Head, too, if I'm not mistaken. I see that on her currently, and I don't think that she's had that yet, so they are going to group up. In fact, we can answer that question. How many charges? They're still full charges, so yeah, I think she just got that. But then you have Zephyr. Look at Zephyr, actually, going to barbed armor here early on. This is pretty early on to see a barbed armor on a hero like Zephyr.
Yeah.
It feels like. Is that an effective choice, though?
I don't know.
Oh, Keeper getting caught. Hold that thought for a second. It's going to be pulled in right there with the discharge. And burst damage to follow. Is it going to be enough? Yes, it will be. Keeper will fall. And his supporting cast is like, you're dead. We're not joining you. So,
yeah, that's very unfortunate. You cannot get picked like that. I mean, it's probably just going to be a free tower up top and nothing more than that. But, I mean, every little bit counts. And you were actually making very, very good momentum as a team, this Hellborn team was. And before that, I mean, well, still, you have level 13, 13, 13 with Zephyr, Pebbles, and Keeper. And they've actually really come back and still leading in the experience, actually, despite that death happening. And, yeah, with the barbed armor, I'm actually always a fan of this item. I think it's extremely powerful. And it's not picked up, honestly, enough.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he does have relatively low HP. At the same time, magic mitigation. One of the things I always heard is that it's actually quite effective to not get the magic mitigation or the investments when you pick up an item like barbed armor, at least maybe at the early stages of the game. So, but yeah, I still think it's a great pickup.
All right. Again, we'll see where Zephyr goes from here, but his GPO now about 310. They were doing a little bit of counter pushing, but it was actually pretty solid stall there by the Legion team. They did eventually get the top tower. Master of Arms was actually very close to denying it, by the way, but it was taken out, and that kind of momentum swing right there definitely enhanced a little bit in favor of Team Pikachu on the Legion side. But overall stats, I mean, you're looking at a 6,300 goldie currently. There's Flux to purchasing the straight-up Shrunken Head, by the way, so he does get the 3,900 gold, and Right clicks one of those, so him and Hag now both have that immunity. And what's not, of course, Bubbles another 1,500 gold saved up, so that's working his first Arcana himself. But yeah, interested to see where now, especially Zephyr goes from here. Obviously for the Hellborn team, trying to buy some more time for him. But you know, you were commenting on it. It's hard to say. I think in the end, you know, what team maybe has the ultimate stronger later game. You could definitely lean towards the Legion team for sure. I don't know. It seems like the Hellborn team, they definitely have some good presence, though, at least. So it's not like a clear cut, I don't think, by any means. Zephyr is going to be picked off here, though, as he gets caught out. Offensive storm play, activates the power of armor, trying to turn something around, and not going to happen, though. The Typhoon was put down, and the supporting cast, again, just could not get there in time. So great initiation and great jump from the Legion team.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Typhoon was used there.
Yeah.
Okay, sometimes it bugs out on my spectator screen, like it says that it's actually not used, and then so I was wondering why the Shrunken Head was podded by Flux, but wanted to mitigate a lot of that damage. And I still stand by. I think the Legion team has a much stronger late game.
Yeah.
I think Flux actually can do a lot of damage late game with full items. You start to get to that point where you have a 4-second magnetic surge that's doing like plus 120, and it's physical damage. So it can be done through things like Shrunken Head. And it pulls people back.
Oh, speaking of Flux, he's going to jump in right there, but then he quickly falls back. He doesn't have a Shrunken Head, though. He gets cut out by Pebbles right there. They'll feel the heal coming out, but Flux will eventually fall. Looks like gets the release off, knocking him out of though. Hagjo, a great Bat Blast in the meantime. Takes out a Luna. Keeper of the Force also falls, and despite Flux getting picked off, Legion team still in a pretty good spot. They're going to keep this pressure up, actually, it looks like, as they want to go for the melee racks. Pebbles jumps back in. Hag easily surviving, though. Great barrier idol coming out there from Ophelia. And now Pebbles is getting return damage on, and he will eventually fall, it looks like, as the damage is too intense. So yeah, despite, again, Flux being picked off, it works out pretty well for Pikachu. Pebbles does buy back, and they didn't notice that. They stayed for the tower kill, or the Rax go, I should say. So Nero looks like will be picked off, as he's just running backwards even just to delay it even further.
And he kills the eye.
Oh, very smart play by Nero right there. Very smart play. Pebbles chasing, but ain't going to get anyone, it looks like. So
yeah. I think at the beginning of that fight, too, Rape on Zephyr also bought back because he's missing one, and he did get hit by the Bat Blast, I believe. That Bat Blast was pretty huge for Mr. P.
Yeah, I think you're right, yeah.
And so, yeah, good job by the Legion team. I mean, those heals, even though Semi-Jew didn't have his Shrunken Head up right there, I think he baited a lot of spells, honestly, that made it pretty easy to clean up for the rest of the team, specifically Mr. P.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think his discharge was up. I think he did use it earlier on that gank for Zephyr that we saw before that fight happened, but yeah, despite that, still worked out pretty well for Pikachu, as you put it. And now back to more farming they go. So our Hellborn side, again, now you're looking at a buyback on the Pebbles that he used right there. So not only being down the one, but I mean, that was a good chunk of change that he had to use towards that, rather than investing into something like that Soul's Bulwark next that we see a lot on a hero like Pebbles in this case. So
right,
something to note there. Not Ophelia, but Zephyr actually. Again, with that buyback too, he's only sitting on another 1,100 gold with the same items that he had before, so he continues to struggle right there. In the meantime, you got a Hellflower being worked on by Hag, and actually Tablet recently purchased by Bubbles too. So Ophelia has definitely just also been gathering a lot. She's been continuing to have very good farm herself.
Yeah.
I mean, she's had that barrier idol for a while now, on top of everything else. So,
and another Bound Eye is purchased actually by this time. I think it's Sea Cheese. Let me just double check. I don't think it really matters, but he does have another one to constantly scout out not only the invis from the keeper himself, but when he invises other heroes. So,
good feel they're taking out the illusion right there. The support master farms in Luna. We've seen this from time to time. You know, they're just trying to get any type of experience in farm. They'll just take out what was just a single set of ancients there, but nonetheless, does accomplish the goal. So they'll gladly take that. Ooh, what did he just purchase? No, we sold it. Darn it. Well, okay, so Flux just purchased a Helm of the Victim. My first reaction... Okay, he does it again, so there you go. I'm thinking Insanitarius. I mean, that could eventually turn into a Whispering Helm or even a Shaman's Headdress, I guess, but... Insanitarius on Flux would be kind of cool.
Yeah, interesting. I'm leaning towards it actually might be a Whispering Helm.
Think so?
Just so you can have sustainability in these team fights. Like, you're already getting healed from 2 different sources. Being able to constantly heal yourself with the auto attacks is another great way to stay in those fights. So, but I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, Insanitarius could actually be quite effective on him. I've never seen it ever.
Yeah.
So I would entertain the idea of seeing it on him right now.
Yeah, it does feel kind of weird, you know, being a ranged hero.
Yeah, it
but
does.
obviously he is a strength. I mean, he's one of your few strength ranged heroes, so it is that would be something. So I am kind of hoping for that because it just would be intriguing. But yeah, you're right. The Whispering Helm definitely has value too. So we'll see which route Semi-Ju decides to go here.
Wretched Hag's going to have that Hellflower here in about 400 gold or so, and that's a pretty big item, especially against a hero like Pebbles with a shrunken head, or even Zephyr too, because it makes those heroes that were once so tanky not tanky at all anymore because of the extra 20% damage.
Yeah.
Not to mention you slap on a Nature's Wrath on top of that.
Oh, Zephyr is in trouble. Speaking of him, he's going to try to gust away, but it looks like it might just be too much. He did activate the barbed armor. In comes a Typhoon, but here comes the initiation to follow, and down goes Zephyr. Luna charging him, but that's going to cost her life most likely. A release, not enough mana onto Flush. He barely has enough now. He pulls her back in. Auto attacks, just enough to Shell Circle Sniper out,
wow.
though. Very good placement by Book right there. And it ends up being another kill. Now, Zephyr did buy back. That is his final buyback, remember. Here we go. A big fight coming out for Havoc. Pebbles jumps in, but the immediate heals from Demented Shaman and Ophelia. And they keep whoever that was alive. I think it might have been DS.
Flux.
Or it was Flux, actually? Okay, so yeah, he stays alive. And you know what? They're like, okay, you bought back. We're fine with that.
Yep. They still didn't use some big cooldowns. Kelp Field is available. Bat Blast is available. And the biggest thing, too, is Wretched Hag now has enough gold to purchase that Hellflower, and it's going to make these fights even more in their favor. So, yeah, big fights coming out from the Legion team.
Indeed, indeed. So, yeah, the fact that, again, that goes back to what we were talking about earlier with buybacks, where, so one, you spent a decent amount of gold to get that buyback out, but now you're out of them. And so if it does happen to get later on or another fight like that, you're just investing all your money now into just simply items. And there is that argument, too, as, oh, well, Luna's going to get picked off here, kind of left in the jungle by herself, so... she is level 8, so only a 30-second resurrection about, so she should be up shortly. I was going to say, though, I've kind of heard this before, and this was actually recently. I forget who said it, was kind of talking about it, but in a sense, I mean, can it kind of just be a case of not having buybacks is like, oh, darn, now I just have to spend that money on items, on actual items here, and not have to worry about buying back. Is that a bad thing in the end in that sense? I mean,
oh, well, yeah, it's a very bad thing. You always want buyouts, but I'll tell you, it makes your decision-making a lot easier.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost one of those situations like, now I don't have to think about, do I buy out, or should I save for buyout, do I buy this, and now it's like, I don't have to worry about that. Just buy it, don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, still, you obviously always want to have
that threat at least.
Yeah, the threat and just the option too.
Well, Rapier on Zephyr doesn't have to worry about it. Doesn't have to worry about them buybacks.
Yep.
So that's the good news for him, I guess. He has another 1,000 gold saved up. Again, he's been sitting on the same items for a while now, and that's because of those 2 buybacks that he had to invest into recently. So, Flux, where is he going? I'm still waiting for that. He purchased something else, and being that it's not delivered, I'm guessing it is a Insanitarius. He probably still needs to finish that. The Whispering Helm would have been delivered by now, I kind of feel. So,
yeah. Well, nothing's on the courier for him. This is a Sackstone coming out for Zitchi.
Oh, yeah, Sackstone.
Pretty good item, too, considering... Oh, they do have a Plated Greave, so unfortunately it won't stack with that.
Yeah. Oh, well. But it's still a solid item nonetheless. I mean, Talisman of the Exile alone is obviously a powerful item to have on a hero like that, so... speaking of armor, actually, I was going to mention, Zephyr's armor is actually... we always like to use the term deceptively tanky on Zephyr, but he actually has a good amount of armor, especially with the Plated Greaves and the barbed armor. And then you got a Keeper throwing around the Nature's Veil, of course. The 12 freaking armor.
12,
so,
man.
Every time I see Dog Guys, I always bring that up to him.
Really?
He loves me for it. Anyways, he gets up to around 30 armor when he actually has that on him. So, yeah, he is pretty tanky, actually, from all the physical. Now, with that said, there's plenty of magical damage here, of course, too. On
there it is.
Side. And is it Insanitarius?
Yep.
Nice. I want to see that.
I'm excited myself, actually. I mean, we're probably not going to see anything. Oh my God! Look at the damage!
Massive plays. Yeah.
But it still will probably be pretty fun to watch it.
Well, it's also kind of just a cool tool that you can use it both to, in a sense, like save yourself. Or kind of reset things. I mean, it's just pretty nifty how it works. I've always been a fan of just the item in general. So yeah, it is delivered, and now he has that whenever he feels it necessary to use it, and he'll probably be up what is around 2,000 life, I think. He gets 475, so yeah, when he uses it. Will they push this? Might not want to necessarily force the issue. And we do have a case of Hade here, setting up a solid wall. So not going to really push the issue. Ooh, Thunderclaw just purchased by Master of Arms. Are we going to see another one of these cases, Trelf? The support Master of Arms all of a sudden taking over the game?
I think it's a little too late at this point for him. But
probably. I
mean, has a little bit more damage output, but doesn't have it. Like, he only has 1 point into his passive, the pulse cannon. Because you start with 1 level of it. Well, kind of. I mean, the point starts at 1. So, yeah, he's not going to be attacking very fast at all, even in that red form. So, it's not going to be actually as effective.
Oh well. Flux right here, just continuing to help clean up the jungle. And it seems like Pikachu's in a position, they're just going to keep pressuring the base and then falling back to the jungle, farming that out a little bit. And while this is all happening, our Hellborn team just constantly has to just sit in their base. So, you know, although it's not the most entertaining play in the world ever, it's something that for Pikachu's sake, as they're here on the Legion side, you know, it definitely makes sense. And just trying to secure themselves a solid fight here to eventually victory. If anything, trying to get somebody to advance out a little bit too much, maybe like this Pebbles here, who is starting to fall back, but try to catch them off guard is the name of the game, I'm sure, by our Legion team. But nothing just yet. I mean, you see the creep clear potential. Yeah. It's pretty damn ridiculous here.
Well, they're timing this as they're pushing with the top lane, the opposite lane, and the bottom lane right now. So
yeah.
They might look to do something right here.
Yeah, Pebbles all the way down there. But Wretched Hag and Demented Shaman actually are kind of busy farming up creeps once again, so in the jungle. So nothing crazy just yet. Abyssal Skull was picked up by Ophelia, by the way. Didn't mention that, but she already has another 1,800 gold saved up. So plenty more on top of that. Are they going to go? Yes, we are. Flux this time, bitches. He discharges right there, and the Sanitarius goes off, and a quick burst down onto Luna. The Bat Blast hitting Zephyr, and Zephyr, the defensive Master's Call, barely keeping it alive. Now for long, the Pebbles will finally jump in. The Golden Pebbles is in their presence, but the damage just not enough after the combo. And now he's going to start dropping. Flux may fall right here. It's Sanitarius switch. Oh, at 1 life right there. So it will be fine. They end up cleaning up. And it looks like that is going to officially do it. Game number 3. Going to be going to Pikachu here. And that means they will win the series 2-1 here in the Gold Division Winners Bracket Semifinal. So Pikachu is guaranteed at the very least to make Diamond now next cycle with this victory. But again, still want to win it all. I mean, it's 1,000 points for first place here in the Gold Division that you definitely want to take advantage of. So
absolutely, which is the same as what 5th, 6th for Diamond Division. So good points and extra, and also a little extra cash there.
Yeah,
for Pikachu. You forget sometimes about that, but you know points are great. But hey, you get some money too for winning. So congrats to them. It took them 1 game to really find the rhythm, but they did find it and looked pretty damn good in both game 2 and 3.
Yeah, it was a great series in the end. I mean, both teams definitely had their moments, like I said, especially the first game. And remember, Havoc actually looked very good in that first game. But Pikachu definitely calmed things down in game number 2 and then 3, as we saw, coming back and winning the series. So that is going to wrap up our coverage, though, for today here on what was a Tuesday here. So, again, tuning in for some gold coverage during the weekday, having some fun with that and getting to see some solid teams. Both, if I wouldn't be surprised if are eventually in Diamond. Pikachu is guaranteed. Havoc will drop down to the losers bracket now and have to win. I believe if they win their next game, though, they should actually qualify still. So
right. Yeah,
that's where things stand for that. But, Trelf, I think things are coming to a conclusion here. So you have any final thoughts?
Well, it's going to be awesome to see Pikachu once again in the Diamond Division. I think they're a team that deserves it, obviously. They've been practicing a lot more. But also big shout out to Havoc. You know, I like I said, I recognize a number of these names, and it's cool to see them come together as a team and perform as well as they did. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it tuning in. That's ultimately what it is about, let's be honest. So thank you guys for tuning in to HoNcast.com. To wrap things up here officially, you can find this guy at TrelfHon. And at BreakyCPK. The HoNcast Facebook at HoNcast, all that jazz, HoNcast.com. And, of course, HoNTour.com, where you find all your HoN Tour coverage. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are good for tonight. Maybe something tomorrow on the stream. If not, definitely look to tune in on Friday with our podcast and a Sound Blasters qualifier finals after. So, until then, we'll see you next time.